interfering.
Here. Sit down. Have yourself a nice salami sandwich. Now, you mind if I go on eating? Look what you made me do. That's bad luck. Boy, I sure hate to spill salt.
Look, I just come from Pitkin Avenue. There ain't a store down there that'll handle my machines no more. All our pinball machines we take from Lucky, they say.
They say correct.
But from Pitkin Avenue to Wadsworth is my territory. I built up the percentages there, you know that. When Blackie Hirsch got bumped off, he said I should take over.
You built it up real nice for me, and I appreciate it. Now put the rod away. You look goofy holding the rod on me. You ain't gonna use it, so put it away.
Lucky, I'm warning you.
Georgie, I can't kill you, and you can't kill me. And we know why. Here. Get a gander at that face on the front page. Go on, look at it. Imagine a cop like Larkin getting to be a lieutenant. Larkin sure come up in the world.
Larkin ain't got nothing to do with us.
Don't be a fool. Larkin's got everything to do with us. He's sort of an insurance policy between you and me.
What do you mean?
You got a bad memory. Even when we were kids, Georgie, you hated me, and I hated you. And every cop in the neighborhood knew it, especially Larkin. Don't ever forget what Larkin told us. If one of you punks gets knocked off, the one that's left alive had better have a good alibi. That's why I say, put the gun away. You ain't gonna need it.
I ain't letting you take away my business. Hirsch gave me that concession, and I need the dough.
You need dough? Go work a cheap con game on East Broadway. Oh, if you should happen to get hungry, here's a $50. You can drop in any place and get yourself a nice salami sandwich. And keep the change.
Lucky, you better stop ragging me.
Go away, will you, please? I got a million things on my mind. Well, it's almost 4 o'clock. You know, at 6 o'clock, I gotta report to Larkin for my parole. If you were to squeeze that trigger, I'd be missed terribly.
I ain't gonna let you make a sucker out of me.
I already have. Just today, I sent you the biggest lollipop in town. A present from me to you. The biggest lollipop in town. For the town's biggest sucker. If ever one of you punks gets knocked off, the one who's left alive had better have a good alibi.
Hey, Uncle Leo.
Eh?
You and me, we've been through some pretty rough things together, huh? And a couple of times there, you needed my help real bad, remember?
Georgie, if I live to be 100, I'm not gonna forget. You know what I say to the family? I say, Georgie, he can have my right arm. Up there. Anytime you ask him. But, well, salute.
Well, Uncle Leo, I need your help real bad now.
Sure. Only, I'm a little broke, you know. I had my gallstone out the last summer in a business.
No. It ain't money. Come here. Sit down. Look, in case anybody should ask, you tell them I was here since 3:30 this afternoon, okay?
3:30? Why?
What's the difference, why? You do me this little family favor, huh?
I don't know, Georgie. You worry me.
You gonna do it or not?
Look, if I'm gonna alibi you, I want to know what for. Family or no family?
Don't make a production out of it. They probably won't even ask you. But if they do, you just tell them I was here since 3:30, okay?
You're in trouble with them hoodlums again. Your friend Lucky, the guy where they bumped off for Blackie Hirsch. I told you run around with them. You know what you gotta get.
Uncle Leo, you just gotta do me this favor. You gotta.
Not on your life. I ain't gonna alibi you.
Why not?
One guess. His name is Larkin.
So you don't forget a favor, huh? Your right arm up there, huh? Boy, some uncle.
Look, you need money. I'm gonna find the money for you. I don't know where, but I find it. You need food, I feed you. You need clothes, the best of flannel, I get it for you. But no alibi, Georgie. Now, you excuse me, I got customers. Now get out of here, you little punk.
Just a minute. Well, for Pete's sake, look what the cat drug in.
Goldie, I missed you so much. It's been a long time, kid. Such a long time.
I shouldn't touch you. I shouldn't even talk to you. It's been 2 months.
You want to know why? Because you begin to mean too much to me, kid. Don't see her no more, I says to myself. Just stay away from her. She'll wear off.
You said that honest?
You mean more to me now than ever, Goldie. I couldn't stay away no longer. That's why I had to come back.
Oh, Georgie. Don't ever stay away again. No matter what the reason, don't ever stay away from me.
Shh, I'm back now for good.
Do you mean that honest?
Take a look at my face and see. I mean, take a good look.
Oh, Georgie.
Let's see. You satisfied?
Oh, Georgie, it's just been awful without you. Not feeling like going out or seeing anybody. Just sitting around the apartment and watching TV. I thought I'd go crazy.
Well, that's all over now. The good times are back. You know what I feel like doing? I feel like celebrating tonight. Look, why don't you get into your finest and we'll go out stepping, huh? We'll go dinner, we'll go to a show, we'll go dancing afterwards. How does that sound to you?
Oh, George, I got a new number I've been dying to wear.
Good. Goldie, has anybody been here today?
No, not a soul. I was all alone, feeling just awful until you came.
Well, in case anybody should ask you, you know, not that they will, but in case anybody does, would you do me a favor? Would you tell them I was here with you all day?
Georgie, I'll tell the world you were here. From the rooftops. I don't care who knows it, Georgie. I love you. I just love you. Love you. Georgie, please get comfortable. So you can't live without me.
Goldie, now listen to me.
You stayed away because I was getting to be a habit. Isn't that the way it went? You want me? You want to spend the afternoon here? Well, isn't that just too touching for words?
I meant what I said, honestly.
You're a liar! You're trying to sucker me into giving yourself an alibi.
Will you please stop yelling and listen to me? What I said is true. I need you.
Sure you need me, sure. To give yourself an alibi. That's why you came here. Just so I'll say that you were here with me.
No, Goldie,
You want to use me. What have you been up to? What have you done today that makes you need me like that?
Nothing. I was out to see the...
No, don't tell me. I don't care. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what you've done, and I don't care what's done to you. Arrest, jail, the electric chair, I don't care. You get no alibi from me, Mr. Wise Guy. Now get out of here.
Georgie, good to see you.
Hey, Timmy, sorry I didn't have a chance to get you some flowers or some candy. How you doing?
Pull up a chair.
How you feeling? For real, Tim?
Not bad. Doctor says it was a miracle. How are things with you?
What? I'll level with you, Timmy. I come up the back stairs. I didn't want no one to see me.
Yeah? In a spot, Georgie? Need a favor? You come to the right man. Favors have been my business for the past 30 years. Oh, some fellas call it ward healing. With me, it's a business.
I need an alibi for the afternoon. Since 3 o'clock, Timmy.
You got it. I got this private room. No one comes here. Nurses and orderlies, they don't come unless I give a yell. I can have visitors anytime I want. No one's been here all afternoon. Not even my wife.
I'll never forget you for this, Tim.
You'll pay me back someday. You look better already. When you walked in, I was going to let you have the bed.
Yeah. So, I've been here since 3 o'clock, huh? We played gin all afternoon, okay?
Sure. Okay. Oh, look. I'll get the nurse in so she can see you. Then you take the elevator down. And, ask some dumb questions so she'll remember you. I'll ring for her now. There's some cards in the drawer over there. Deal a hand out on the bed.
Sure.
Oh!
Tim?
Georgie, the ticket, Georgie.
You want something, Timmy?
Water.
Tim? Oh, don't die now, Timmy. Timmy, you can't die now. Come on, Timmy, please. Don't die now. You can't die now. Timmy, come on, please. Say something to me, Tim. Miss Salvatore.
Hello?
Hey, let me do that. Give me that hammer, Mrs. Salvatore. It ain't right a nice woman like you should be doing this.
Oh, thanks, Georgie. I'm gonna bring that Casey kid if he keeps tearing this linoleum. I ain't got money to spend buying a new linoleum.
Sure. I don't blame you.
Did you just come in?
Yeah, I just come in. But in case anybody asks, especially Larkin, you tell him I've been in my room all day, huh?
Larkin? Lieutenant Larkin, the cop?
Yeah, Larkin, the cop.
Oh, I couldn't do that, Georgie. I wouldn't lie to that cop. Don't count on it.
I do count on it, though. And you'll do it, too. Don't shake your head. I say you'll do it. You tell Larkin I've been in my room all day, understand?
Oh, no.
You don't tell him I'm in all day. And I'll tell him about your daughter, Maria.
I don't have any idea what you mean.
Is that a fact? No idea at all, huh?
No. Wait! How did you know, Georgie? Tell me, how did you find out?
What difference does it make? I keep my eyes and ears open. That's how I found out. Now, you gonna alibi me?
I don't want any trouble. I'm honest, and I work hard to keep my kids honest.
Sure, you keep your kids honest. So honest that your daughter yanks a fur coat right out of a department store, huh?
I made her bring it back. I marched her into the store myself. We gave it back to the manager.
Sure, I know. But a crime's a crime. Whether the store makes trouble or not.
Oh, Georgie, you couldn't. Why, she's only 15. Her whole life would be ruined. She would...
Oh, now, come on, Mrs. Salvatore. What's the crime? Am I going to tell Aunt Maria? Oh, of course not.
Oh, please don't tell anyone, please.
I'll keep my mouth shut just like you want. And you open your mouth just like I want, and everything will be fine. Now, if Larkin asks you, I was in my room all day. Agreed?
And you won't tell him about Maria?
I won't say a word. I swear. Look, I take an oath.
All right, Georgie, all right. But not a word about Maria.
My memory is terrible. Just so long as yours is good. Yeah?
Open up. It's me, Larkin.
Well, what a surprise.
I'll bet.
And to what do I owe this great pleasure?
To your friend, Lucky.
Huh? Anything happened to Lucky? He's been
made dead.
No kidding? Well, what do you know?
Yeah. Tough.
And you come to give me your shoulder to cry on, huh?
You're not surprised.
Look, I'm not the only guy in the world who hated Lucky. But when you find out who did it, let me know. I'll contribute a sawbuck to his defense.
Save your money, Georgie. You might need it.
Yeah? How come?
Remember I told you, if ever one of you punks gets knocked off, the one who's left alive better have a good alibi.
Yeah, the words ring a bell.
Come on, give, Georgie. Where were you today?
I was nowhere.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's a fact. I was right here alone in my room all day.
Can you prove that?
It ain't easy to prove you've been alone somewhere all day.
No?
No, besides, I didn't see anybody. Oh, yeah. I saw my landlady, Mrs. Salvatore.
Yeah?
Yeah. Mrs. Salvatore? Hey, Mrs. Salvatore.
What is it?
Come on in here, will you?
All right.
Come on. It's my landlady, Miss Salvatore, Lieutenant Larkin.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Sit down, Miss Salvatore. You must be tired. I won't keep you long. Were you in all day?
Yeah, the whole day.
Was Georgie in all day, too?
Georgie? This Georgie?
How many Georgies have you got in the place?
Yeah, he was in.
Are you positive?
I'm positive, sure I'm positive.
What makes you so positive?
What makes me so positive? I cleaned the room, that's what makes me so positive. And I pressed a suit for him later, that's what makes me so positive. Oh, and when I was cleaning the hall, the door was open and I saw him. And when I was downstairs, he yelled to me a couple of times.
Will you swear to this in a court of law?
I swear.
All right, thank you. You can go. Well, that's it then, Georgie.
Meaning?
Meaning your alibi smells as far as I'm concerned. But for the record, it lets you off the hook.
Yeah.
Mr. George Manelli. You George Manelli?
Yeah.
Got a package for you, rapid delivery service. Just sign there.
Who's it from?
Well, Mr. Moore. Lucky Moore.
Open it, Georgie. This I want to see. Well, what do you know? A lollipop.
Gee, I've never seen such a big one.
Okay, so you never seen such a big lollipop before. Now, will you get out of here? What are you waiting around here for?
What do you think he's waiting for? Tip the kid.
What do you mean, tip the kid? What do you think I am, the mint?
Okay, cheapskate. Ain't it always the way? 5 times I come up and down them stairs. Twice this morning and 3 times this afternoon. Not even a nickel tip.
Wait a minute. Come here, kid. You say you were here twice this morning and 3 times this afternoon?
Sure. This guy wasn't even in. Oh, I almost forgot. There's a message goes with the lollipop. To the biggest sucker in town.
I might end up by committing a few murders myself. Phew. I'm glad it worked out this way, of course. It's so much healthier. Also, it pays better. Otherwise, I'd say that I was pretty normal, even though my husband, John, doesn't always agree with me. It's my vivid imagination that gives John the most trouble. Poor John. He's a lawyer. Corporations, mostly. Crime doesn't even enter his mind. But with me, it's like eating peanuts. Once I start thinking about it, I can't stop. Right now, I'm beginning to think some pretty strange things about the people next door. If I thought about it enough, I could really build it up into a production. Knowing myself, I probably will.
John, are you asleep? It's just one light on next door. Don't you think that's odd? Ever since the Blanchards moved in, that one light always burns all night. It's not the right place to be coming from a hall. It must be a bedroom. Maybe it's hers. Maybe she has insomnia and she reads all night. Maybe that's why I've never seen her, because she sleeps all day. Oh, it sounds like a lovely idea, doesn't it? It's funny, though. They've been in that house for over 2 weeks, and I've never seen Mrs. Blanchard. Not once. Well, isn't that funny? He does all the chores. He even hangs out her laundry. I popped in the market several times. Oh, he's very strange. Hardly even nodded. He's such an odd, withdrawn type. Oh, and let's see how you could make a good teacher. Do you know that he used to be a university professor? What's he doing stuck away in a small-town high school like ours, anyway? It's very strange. Oh. Good night, darling. I enjoyed our little chat. John, suppose there isn't any Mrs. Blanchard. Suppose he just invented it for some reason, or she's dead and he can't accept it, so he just goes on pretending. Or suppose he killed her. Suppose he discovered that she had some secret vice. And he tried to get rid of her to save his career. Oh, boy, I better make a plot out of that. Only I'm hungry all of a sudden. Can I get you something, dear? It's not really so far-fetched when you think about it. Mr. Blanchard gets rid of his wife, but he
still afraid someone will eventually get suspicious. So, he pretends that she's still with him. He acted so peculiarly when I asked him about his wife. Wasn't a bit friendly when I said I'd like to be neighborly and visit. Of course. Now I know why he behaved that way. It's because there is no Mrs. Blanchard. Why, he could go on like this for years. In fact, as long as he pretends Mrs. Blanchard is alive, he's safe. That was not my vivid imagination. That was Mr. Blanchard. Nobody's gonna come peeking through my back door in the middle of the night without an explanation. Sign of the woman's touch so far. Ooh, I could do myself a real favor if I turn around and go home right now. Of course, I'm not going to. Like those peanuts, this is irresistible. Looks like a set. Ready for the lady dance on cue. At least there was a Mrs. Blanchard. Oh, lovely, too. Even that stony face doesn't seem to think so. Wow. Sure, these could put an awful dent in a professor's salary. Maybe he couldn't afford to keep her. So he killed her.
Good evening, Mrs. Fenton.
I was looking for you.
In the closet?
Well, not exactly. Well, you see, when I caught you peeking... I mean, when I saw you outside my kitchen a little while ago, well, I thought there might be something wrong with Mrs. Blanchard.
There's nothing wrong with Miss Blanchard.
Really? Well, can you prove it? I mean, oh, I just love to meet her.
Some other time, perhaps.
Then she is here.
This is her home. I'm sorry if I frightened you a while ago. My wife went out without telling me, and I thought perhaps she was with you. Now, with your permission, I'd like to see you to your door.
Well, so far he's only got you for illegal entry and defamation of character. What else happened last night?
Nothing, unfortunately. But you know I'm positive there's something wrong in that house. Mr. Blanchard never once looked me straight in the eye.
Maybe he was embarrassed. You weren't exactly dressed to go visiting.
Oh, don't be silly. Besides, you should see some of Mrs. Blanchard's negligees. Wow. I just can't understand how a woman with those tastes could pick a man like that. That house, it's like a morgue. Who knows, maybe it is.
Darling, how the Blanchards live is none of our business. You can't expect Mr. Blanchard to put the welcome mat out for you when you go prowling around his house in the middle of the night, asking questions that are about as subtle as a sledgehammer.
He was prowling around our house first. Besides, what was he really doing outside our kitchen door anyway?
Who knows? Maybe he walks in his sleep. I'd even settle for that if I could just get some sleep.
I'm sorry, darling. I wish I could forget. You know me. I just can't stop thinking about that poor woman probably lying in a cellar someplace right this minute, just ready to be popped into the furnace.
Now, please, not right on top of my breakfast.
Oh, sometimes I don't know how you put up with me. I'll tell you what. I'll try working the Blanchards into a script. Then maybe we'll both get some sleep tonight.
Can I count on that?
Of course, darling. By the time you get home, Mrs. Blanchard will be buried for the last time.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Maybe the secret vice angle for Mrs. Blanchard is a good one. Maybe she was an alcoholic or something. Mr. Blanchard's university career was being destroyed, so he finally had to take steps.
place especially. Just out for a walk.
A walk to the liquor store, you mean? Get back to your room at once.
Charles. Charles, I promise to behave. Oh, Charles, I can't stand it any longer. I can't stand it. If I don't get out of this house, I'll go mad. Oh, Charles, I want to make friends. Go shopping. Be like other women, don't you understand?
But you are not like other women. Other women do not get themselves into a drunken stupor and nearly set fire to their homes, or go off on a spree and wind up almost running a child down. Other women help their husbands' careers. They do not destroy them. Now get back to your room.
No. No, no. I will not be kept a prisoner in this house any longer. I am going to tell the world what you have done to me.
Have you counted the number of times that we have had to move? The positions I have given up because of you, have you? You have ruined my career for the last time. The last time.
And that's the end of her. Oh, John will be so happy.
Mrs. Fenton, I'm Mrs. Blanchard. I've been wanting to meet you. No, I should have knocked, but well, the door was open, so I took the liberty of walking in.
Mrs. Blanchard?
Yes.
Come in, please. You have no idea how glad I am to see you.
It's all so pretty here, just the way I imagined it.
I was beginning to think that you didn't exist at all.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't stay very long. My husband doesn't know I'm here. He wouldn't like it.
Oh, I don't see why not. After all, we are neighbors.
It's a little difficult.
Don't you say another word until I get some coffee. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about. Mr. Blanchard, how charming of you to call. Well, you'll join us in some coffee, won't you?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Fenton, but I'm afraid there won't be time for that. Come, Ellen.
You're angry with me?
Come, Ellen, I said.
All right, Charles. I'm sorry that I couldn't stay for coffee. Men are such babies. They just can't be left alone for 1 minute.
When a man is so jealous that he keeps his wife a virtual prisoner in her own home, won't even let her out to talk to her neighbor, then he has to be insane. I'm not going to desert her. I just couldn't live with myself if I didn't do something to help. Her light is on, as usual. When you think of it, that bedroom is her whole world. And when she doesn't care what the rest of the house looks like. All those pretty clothes that no one ever gets to see. Honestly, John, I'd just like to take that man and do... He just came out of the house. He's carrying something. It looks like a large sack. He's putting it into his car. John, he's driving off with it. Oh, John. John, something awful. How can you read at a time like this?
Doesn't everybody?
Oh, for heaven's sakes, do something.
About what?
John, 10 minutes ago, Mr. Blanchard left here in a great hurry, practically dragging a heavy sack. I've been pounding on their door ever since. Mrs. Blanchard's light is still on, but Mrs. Blanchard doesn't answer. Now do you understand?
Not in the least.
Didn't we both agree that Mr. Blanchard is a homicidal maniac? He was furious with her for coming over here this morning. John, suppose that what Mr. Blanchard had in that sack was the body of Ellen Blanchard.
What?
Now will you call the police?
Look, you've done some pretty wacky things in your...
Never mind, I'll do it myself. Get me the police.
Now stop that. I beg if you don't...
Maybe you don't mind having a murder committed right in... Hello? This is Mrs. John Fenton. I'm awfully sorry to bother you, but I believe a woman has just been murdered. Who? Oh, she's my next-door neighbor. No, I'm not absolutely sure, but... You see, I saw her husband dragging a sack out of their house in the middle of the night. Do you mean that you still haven't found the body?
You haven't even looked. No, I am not crazy. Although it's a wonder with all that's been going on around here. No, of course I can't be absolutely sure there was a murder. But how can you be absolutely sure that there wasn't unless you look? I don't know. You're the police. Just ask yourself where you'd go to get rid of a body if you had one. Don't worry, darling. I didn't say anything would get us into trouble.
Certainly not. Of course, when the police arrest you for being a general nuisance, don't you come to me. But if you need help, I'll be at the office.
Poor John. I wish he had just a little more imagination. He wouldn't suffer so. Now, let me see if I can reconstruct the murder. Hello. I've come for coffee.
You had such a funny look on your face when I came in, as if I were a ghost.
To be perfectly frank, I thought I'd never see you again after yesterday.
My husband and I had quite a quarrel over my being here. Well, as a matter of fact, he got so furious, he threw a few things into a duffel bag and stormed into the night. He hasn't come back yet.
Duffel bag, so that was it. But didn't you hear me ringing your bell?
You? No. Oh, but then I was so upset, I took a sleeping pill. I didn't hear a thing after that. Oh, how pretty. Do you mind?
No, of course not. Help yourself. Only it doesn't work. They never do for me. I guess I just don't have a red thumb with lighters. Try this.
Oh, thank you. It's such a lovely one. I adore silver, but I suppose every woman does.
If you knew some of the wild theories I've had about you.
Theories?
I think we better skip those. From now on, I'm going to stick to writing.
Right? How exciting.
It depends on if your taste runs to crime.
Upsets me horribly. And my husband adores murder mysteries. The gorier, the better.
Well, at least I was right about something. Ellen, forgive me for being personal, but are you happy?
You mean with Charles? Yes, I think so. Oh, of course, he is nervous, sort of high-strung. Doesn't want me out of his sight, watches me a little too closely sometimes, but he's sweet when you get to know him.
I'm sure. But don't you mind being cooped up, never getting out, never seeing anyone?
Oh, I sneak off ways sometimes, but to the movies or go shopping. I adore to go shopping by myself. But, well, Charles doesn't approve. I suppose he knows what's best.
You know, I just don't think that you're real.
No. Actually, I'm very grateful to him. He understands my little foibles. Besides, I am the most dreadful housekeeper. Sometimes I think he's an angel to put up with me. You know, I really must be going. Charles generally gets at home for lunch about this time, and I'm going to be there.
Last night he...
Oh, you mean about leaving me? He's done that before. He always comes back. You know, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this. I do hope there's something I can do for you sometime.
Just come again. As often as your husband... As often as you like. Oh, my Irish stew! I forgot all about it.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'll let myself out. See you soon.
Okay, bye. I really thought I had the Blanchards all figured out. Oh. Now, I don't know who's crazy. Unless it's me.
a bit of thin air, please?
How much? That is a combien, oh, here.
Merci, mademoiselle. Ah, bonjour, madame. Bonjour, mademoiselle.
I can't understand why I feel so tired. I was perfectly well on the boat.
5 minutes more, Mother, and you can rest.
Bonsoir, mesdames. Vous avez retenu une chambre?
I'm afraid we don't speak French. Does anyone here speak English?
Oh, forgive me, mademoiselle. I was asking whether you had reserved rooms. We are extremely busy at this particular time.
Oh, yes, we reserved by cable 6 weeks ago from India. Winthrop.
Winthrop. Ah, je suis désolé, mademoiselle, mais nous n'avons... Oh, forgive me. I'm afraid we can only give you one room instead of the two that you have requested in your cable. You see, Paris is so crowded with the visitors who've come to see our great world exposition. However,
Yes,
we can...
yes, thank you. That'll do nicely.
Please. Chasseur, Madame et Mademoiselle Winthrop au 342.
Voici, madame.
It's a lovely room. And look, Mother, an all-new clock, almost exactly like ours at home. And those wonderful velvet curtains. And that old-fashioned four-poster.
Yes, dear, it's a lovely room.
You are tired, aren't you, dear? Just rest over here in this chair while I turn the bed down.
Allow me, mademoiselle.
Thank you. Now, darling, we'll have you in bed in a moment.
Later, dear. I'll undress later.
Thank you for coming so quickly.
Oh, I'm right here in the hotel for the convenience of the guests. But tell me, when did your mother first complain of feeling tired?
It was on the boat train to Paris. We thought perhaps it was the heat.
And you say you have come from India?
Yes, we stopped to see the exposition on our way home. Now, with Mother feeling so ill, I almost wish we'd gone straight to England instead.
Pardon me. Just a little fever.
Doctor? Doctor?
We have a small problem. The medicine which I require must be prepared, and I'm afraid you will not find the chemist shop open so late as night. Therefore, it is necessary to procure the necessities somewhere else. Now, my wife, she's licensed by law to dispense the medicine. So you will take a message to her, mademoiselle, and bring the medicine back here to me. I'm sorry, but I cannot leave the hotel right now. So you will take a fiacre.
No.
Madame is right. Not a fiacre for so young a girl, but I have it. I shall send you in my own carriage. The driver knows the way. He will bring you there and back safely.
Couldn't you send a messenger?
Oh, no, madame. A messenger cannot be trusted with all the city en fete. I'm sorry that we do not have telephone facilities in our home. Otherwise, my wife would be enchanted to bring you the medicine back here.
I'll be back soon, Mother. You mustn't worry.
I will make certain that Madame is well taken care of while you are gone. Au revoir.
Do you mind waiting here, mademoiselle, while I gather the medicine? It will take a little time. So please, have patience.
Thank you.
I regret, mademoiselle, the long delay. But you see, the medicine must be prepared with great care.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Merci. Goodbye. I must hurry back to my mother. It's taken so long. It's nearly midnight.
Bonsoir, mademoiselle.
May I have my key, please, number 342?
Qui désirez-vous voir, mademoiselle?
I'm afraid you've forgotten. I don't speak French.
Pardon? Oh, whom does mademoiselle wish to see?
I want the key to my room.
But the name, please.
Winthrop, Miss Winthrop. I'm here with my mother.
Winthrop? Winthrop, I am sorry, mademoiselle. 1,000 pardons, but I do not, Oh, perhaps mademoiselle has mistakenly come to the wrong hotel.
Oh, good heavens. But this is the right hotel. Well, I remember it. I know you. Don't you remember? We asked for 2 rooms and you only had 1. Well, I signed that register right there.
I'm sorry, mademoiselle, but see for yourself. Number 342, Monsieur Duchesne. He has been with us for some days.
The city is crowded with visitors. There is much confusion. You have merely mistaken the identity of your hotel. It happens frequently, mademoiselle.
I've not mistaken the hotel. I remember you. I know my room number. My mother's up there now. She's very ill and I must go to her.
Mademoiselle, I cannot permit you. Monsieur Duchesne retired early. He must not be disturbed.
I don't believe you. I know she's there.
Please, mademoiselle.
Why, that porter over there. He carried up our bags.
Chasseur?
Oui, monsieur?
This young lady wishes to know if you remember her. Mademoiselle désire savoir si vous vous souvenez d'elle.
Mais no, I've never seen her before.
Oh, but you have. You carried up our bags just this evening.
No, mademoiselle.
The doctor. He sent me for this medicine. He'll tell you. He's probably with my mother this minute.
I'm sorry, mademoiselle, but the doctor is not here. He will not be back until morning.
I can't believe he'd send me for medicine and then go away before I came back with it.
Mademoiselle, I beg of you, think. It is impossible that you are in the right hotel.
The maid. Where's the maid? She'll tell you. She'll remember, I know.
Demandez à la femme de chambre du 342 de descendre, voulez-vous?
Tout de suite, monsieur.
Mademoiselle, we will be glad to provide you with a room for the night. Don't you think you should wait until morning and then perhaps try to remember from which hotel you have wandered? Or the lateness of the hour does not...
I certainly do not. I must find my mother. She's ill. It's not a thing to be put off until morning. Oh, good evening. Do you remember in room 342 when you took my mother's hat and asked if there was anything else that you...
342? There is a gentleman in 342, a Monsieur Duchesne.
Don't you remember me? My mother was ill.
I am sorry, mademoiselle.
Mademoiselle, may I conduct you to a room? There you may compose yourself and perhaps in the morning you may recollect.
What am I going to do? Where's my mother?
Oh, She will no doubt find you, mademoiselle. Meanwhile, number 254 is a very nice room.
You think I can go to bed not knowing what's become of my mother?
Mademoiselle must realize that her memory is at fault. However, if you wish to go and inquire at other hotels...
But this is the hotel. Perhaps you're right. I'm very tired. I should go to bed and think. There must be some explanation.
Certainly, mademoiselle. Of course there is. When you are rested, you will consider and reveal the truth to yourself. After you, mademoiselle. Now, mademoiselle, you should go to bed immediately. You will feel much more restored in the morning.
Perhaps.
Bonsoir, mademoiselle. You'd better get some rest now.
Yes, thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, what's happened? What can have happened? Where's my mother? I know it's the right hotel. I remember all of those people. All but that doctor. I did sign the register. Oh, there has to be an explanation. I'm not going out of my mind.
Oh, no, certainly not, Miss Winthrop. As you say, there must be an explanation.
I clearly remember all those people who now choose to deny they ever saw me before. Oh, I'm afraid. I must have help.
The embassy will help you, of course. Yes, I think the best thing to do is to get in touch with your relatives in England and
I won't
arrange...
leave Paris without my mother.
My dear Miss Winthrop, what possible reason could the people at the Madeleine Hotel have for such a conspiracy?
I should very much like to know that too, Sir Everett.
Yes, I see. Of course, you were quite right to call me in, Farnham, but I think you can handle the situation yourself, hmm? Yes. You're in good hands, Miss Winthrop. Mr. Farnham will assist you in every way possible, and, good day.
He thinks I'm insane. Mr. Farnham, do you believe a single thing I've told you?
I'm going to believe everything I possibly can, Miss Winthrop. Now, let's begin at the beginning. Oh, Meadows, please put through a trunk call to Marseille and inquire whether a Mrs. Herbert Winthrop and a Miss Diana Winthrop arrived on the Lafayette on August the 18th and took the boat train to Paris.
Yes, sir.
You don't even believe she was with me.
Certainly I believe she was with you, but we're going to prove it. Now, don't you think it'd be wise to have one of your relatives in England come over here to help you?
There isn't anyone but Aunt Minerva. She's 75 and deaf. By all means, send for her.
I see. You are alone, aren't you?
My mother's alone, too. She's ill, maybe very ill, and she's disappeared. She hasn't even got the medicine he sent me for.
Where did he send you for it? Would you know how to get there again?
No, I'm afraid not. A closed carriage took me there and brought me back.
Is this the medicine? Let's unwrap it. Perhaps the label will say where it came from. Miss Winthrop, this isn't medicine. This is a small bottle of Vittel water. You could have... It could have been bought anywhere.
But that's what she gave me, the doctor's wife. She made me wait nearly 2 hours for it. Why?
Sir, the steamship company says that Mrs. Winthrop and Miss Diana Winthrop arrived in Marseille on the 18th and were booked through to Paris on the boat train.
Thank you, Meadows.
Yes.
Now, won't you come to the hotel and talk to these people?
Of course, right away.
What else can we say, monsieur? We do not recognize the young lady. Nobody here, not the porter, not the maid. It is evident that mademoiselle is suffering from delusions.
You do know where she is, you do.
Monsieur, may I suggest that you seek competent medical aid for Miss Winthrop?
Mr. Farnham, you don't think that Everybody seems to think
Good day, gentlemen, and thank you. I suspect you haven't had any breakfast. Come along.
She kept me waiting and waiting until finally I remember the clock striking 12. I'd been there for... The telephone. The doctor, the first doctor, told me he had no telephone. That was why I had to take a note because he couldn't communicate with his wife. And then when I was leaving, the telephone rang. The doctor's wife was at the door with me, and it rang and rang. She shut the door as quickly as she could, but I could still hear it.
That's all very interesting, but you see, you were the only person who heard it. I don't see how we can use it.
Oh. I know. Why didn't I think of it before? I know exactly how that room, number 342, looks. I've never been to Paris before. I couldn't possibly know what it looks like, could I? If I'd never seen it, if Monsieur Duchesne had been in it for several days.
That's quite true. Tell me exactly how that room was.
It had green damask drapes, rose pattern wallpaper, an ormolu clock, a sofa in gray, a gray rug, a little oval satinwood table, and a big four-poster bed. I think that's all I can remember. Oh, yes, a lamp.
Come along. Let's have a look at that room.
They won't let us see it. They wouldn't let me in last night.
They will today.
Voici, mademoiselle.
Clock and everything's all different.
The best thing for you to do is to get to London where you can rest and leave us to make inquiries into the disappearance of your mother. It's no good staying here and torturing yourself.
Very well.
The embassy will make all the arrangements, and I'll get you tickets for tomorrow's boat. And we'll take your room in some quiet hotel for tonight. I'm sure you don't want to stay here.
Never want to see the place again.
Just a minute, I'll ask the clerk. The clerk says the Marie Antoinette's a nice quiet hotel. I've taken a room for you there.
Painting the hotel.
Oh, yes, sprucing it up for the exposition, very likely.
Change my mind. I want to stay here.
Oh, no, surely not. You'd much better...
I'm sorry, but I do.
Now, wait.
I've changed my mind. I'd like to stay here tonight.
Here, mademoiselle?
Yes, here.
But I... Certainement, if you think that I can...
Miss Winthrop, please.
Is there any reason why I can't stay here?
Oh, no. None at all.
I want room 342.
Oh, no, it's reserved. It's taken. However, I have one equally pleasant for mademoiselle.
Is it as large?
Oh, yes, larger, perhaps.
In that case, you can give it to whoever has reserved room 342.
Oh, no. Impossible.
Sure, they didn't write and ask to reserve room 342. They merely asked for a large room. In that case, I can't see why I can't have room 342.
Is there any reason why she shouldn't have it?
Why, it's irregular. Most irregular. The rooms have been assigned.
I won't keep thinking it's the same room if I'm in it and can see that it isn't.
We don't insist, of course, but Miss Winthrop has had a frightful experience, and if it would comfort her to stay in the same room, I cannot see why you should object.
Monsieur, it is a matter of indifference to me, I assure you. However, it is quite expensive.
Oh, is it very expensive? Well, perhaps I'd better not. Could I just look at it? Maybe I'm being foolish, but I must be sure.
Very well. Mademoiselle?
Just can't decide. Mr. Farnham, what do you think? Do you think having more room would be worth the extra expense? On the other hand, I don't know how long I shall be here. Look!
Mademoiselle!
There's the old paper. That's the pattern I described to you. They've changed this room, repapered it.
Mademoiselle, this is ridiculous. Pay no attention, monsieur.
Oh, I knew it. Even smells new. Can you smell the wallpaper paste, Mr. Farnham? Feel the wall. It's cool. It's not even dry yet. Where is she? What have you done with my mother? What's taking so long? How could she have died so quickly? Oh, why won't they tell me anything?
Try to hold on, Diana. I don't know what it's all about either. They won't talk to anybody but Sir Everett. He'll be here in a moment, just a moment.
I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Miss Winthrop. Sit down. But this is a very singular, very difficult.
What is it, Sir Everett? Oh, tell me, please.
Miss Winthrop, let me say at first that we, the embassy, would never for a moment have countenanced this, never, but we've been presented with a fait accompli. There's nothing we can do about it.
About what? About what?
The doctor saw at once that your mother was very ill indeed. He sent you on this wild goose chase to give himself time to make arrangements for her to be transferred elsewhere, secretly.
Arrangements? Why did they have to be secret?
I know it's hard for you, my dear. Very hard. I'm trying to explain the best way I can. You see, before you got back to your hotel, your mother had already died.
But how could she? She was perfectly well in the afternoon.
I know. You must understand we don't condone their actions, not for a moment, but one can see why they did what they did. They've spent millions on their exposition. The city's full of visitors. The hotels are full of guests.
Why did they all lie? The maid, the porter. Why did they want to pretend she'd never come to Paris, to obliterate her?
They were only obeying their orders. As soon as the doctor had reported your mother's case to the authorities, the French government stepped in quickly and gave everyone explicit orders.
Government?
A place I was forced to spend many weekends. Not that I found my aunt's company particularly congenial, far from it. But the food was fair, and even she didn't have the effrontery to charge me for my visits. Not that she wasn't capable of doing even that. As a matter of fact, nothing my aunt did would be too surprising. But that weekend, she went too far, even for a person as good-natured as myself. Can't you see my problem? The shop is a veritable gold mine. But when you work with objet d'art, you have to begin slowly.
I don't think we'd better discuss the antique shop anymore, Seymour. I simply cannot let you have any more money.
Well, I know it's true I wasn't cut out to be a businessman, but the shop is different. Now, it might interest you to know...
I'll tell you what it would interest me to know. Just what you think you are cut out for, Seymour.
You don't understand. I should have lived in the Renaissance, or some other period, when refinement and culture and taste really meant something.
I doubt if there was ever a period in history when men could enjoy those things without money.
Well, if it comes to that, if dear Papa hadn't left all the money to you instead of to me, I would have money.
Your father was a very sensible man, Seymour. He felt he must force you to make your own way for a while. He thought it might put some sense into your head about money.
It's a pity Father didn't have any understanding of what I'm really like.
Oh, you're wrong, Seymour. Really, you are.
Perception and sensitivity don't seem to run on your side of the family. He couldn't help it, any more than you can.
Ordinarily, I'm a fairly good-natured person, Seymour, but I find it impossible to spend any time with you and remain that way.
Is it possible that you're suffering from a feeling of guilt?
You mean guilt about the money? No. I'm only grateful you live in the city and aren't around to embarrass me all the time.
Why should I embarrass anyone?
Oh, Seymour. Your affectations. Don't you see how people around here laugh at you all the time?
What people? I never see them, much less care what they think. The only way I could possibly survive in this so-called civilization is not to see anything unpleasant. Just to pretend it doesn't exist.
Oh, I give up.
Don't tell me you're running out of good advice.
No, out of patience.
I thought that was something that you and Father had an inexhaustible supply of.
No one could have enough patience to put up with you, Seymour. Because of all the vain, silly, egotistical, unattractive.
Unattractive? Of course, everyone has a right to his own opinion, but unfortunately, you're in the minority.
I'm going upstairs. Seymour, do you realize that when you're in a room with a person, you not only get into a position where you can admire yourself in a mirror, but where the person with you can only see what you call your best angle?
It is my best angle.
Oh, stop it. I never heard such nonsense in my life. Good heavens, this sort of thing is bad enough in a woman, but in a man, well, it's embarrassing.
At your age, do you think it's wise to get yourself upset like that? It might not be good for your health.
Don't worry about my health, Seymour. Though I've no doubt you've given a good deal of thought to it.
Well, why shouldn't I be concerned? After all, you are my aunt.
Don't waste your time worrying about my health, Seymour. I know you can't wait to get your hands on the money.
Dear Aunt Muriel, that is almost a vulgar remark.
A little vulgarity in your nature would be a very healthy thing. That's beside the point at the moment. Now, there's never been any secret of the fact that the money is yours when I die. But I wouldn't waste my time if I were you, Seymour, waiting for it. It may take a long time. You might just as well make up your mind. If you want any more money, you've got to go to work.
What about my shop?
Your shop is just an excuse not to work.
I'll thank you not to make derogatory remarks about that shop, Aunt Muriel. Will you or will you not give me that money?
No, not 1 cent. Not 1 cent of the money do you get while I'm alive.
I didn't answer her. I simply smiled. Obviously, there would have been no point in prolonging the discussion with her any further, for while I had no intention of descending to her level and bickering about anything as sordid as money, it was at that moment I made up my mind. Now there was no alternative. I would simply have to murder my aunt. I moved slowly, discarding plan after plan as unworthy, until one day when I was eating, certainly not enjoying my meager lunch, it happened. It was a wallet. A wallet obviously dropped by someone else. My first thought was it might contain money. A shocking comment on the position my aunt had placed me in. However, it contained only a driver's license. But after my first disappointment, I realized suddenly that fate had placed the solution in my hands. As I looked down at the license, the whole plan came to me, complete and perfect in every detail.
Seymour, why on earth did you drag me down here in the middle of the afternoon? And why are you closing the shop at this hour?
A, I want to talk to you. B, I don't wish to be disturbed.
If you mean by a customer, I don't think there's much danger.
If I wasn't in such a good humor today, I might be a little annoyed by your attitude.
I'm terrified. I'm also getting extremely impatient. What's so special about this afternoon? Don't tell me your aunt had the decency to die.
Not quite. Let me ask you something, Liza. Have you ever been presented with a large, complex idea, complete down to the last detail?
I wouldn't know. Ideas aren't my specialty.
Like leisurely unwrapping a large Christmas parcel full of the most wonderful surprises.
I've almost forgotten what that's like. I've been going with you for so long now, Seymour.
That's unworthy of you, Liza. You've always known that even if things are a little tight now, as soon as
your aunt dies, it'll all be different. But the only trouble is, by the time she does, if she ever does, we'll both be so old it won't matter.
I never worry about age. I have the kind of bone structure that lasts.
Well, I haven't. I want my share of the cake now.
That's right. You don't have that kind of bone structure.
For your information, I've about decided not to sit around here any longer admiring your bone structure. There's no point in both of us doing the same thing.
Listen, answer your voice, Liza, means you want to quarrel. You know how I abhor quarreling.
Then suppose you stop talking in circles and tell me what this is all about.
Let me ask you one more question. What, in your opinion, is the most important thing in the world?
Money.
I'm serious.
All right, I'll play. What is the most important thing?
It's not money. It's not taste, or personality, or distinctive features. It's a passport.
A what?
A passport. An official document. A social security card. A driver's license. In other words, an identification. Because it is only by an official identification that we really exist.
I don't get it.
Sit down. Liza, do you know what that is?
A driver's license.
Correct. California driver's license in the name of Antonio Bertani. I found it quite by accident at lunchtime.
Pity it wasn't a $100 bill.
It's worth a great deal more than that. With this license, I can create a person. A person who will do exactly what I require of him.
Would it interest you to know that I have no idea what you're talking about?
How can you be so stupid? My dear Liza, don't you understand that with this license, anybody can become Mr. Bertani? He can buy a car and register it in his name. He can rent a house in some little town, let's say in New Jersey.
Now, wait a minute. I want to be sure I've got this all straight. You're going to hire someone to impersonate this Bertani.
Bertani? My dear Liza, it is not a question of impersonation. I shall create a fictitious person by the name of Bertani who will do anything I want him to do, including the all-important last act, my aunt's demise.
And who, if I may be so bold, is going to play the part?
I am.
You?
Me. Liza, why are you laughing?
I can't help it. It's too funny.
I fail to see any humor in the situation whatsoever.
I don't doubt it, Seymour. Humor was never your strong point. Honestly, I can't take it seriously. I can't do anything but laugh. As a matter of fact, at this moment, I can't think of anyone in the world who's safer than your aunt.
I had no intention of allowing her attitude to stop me. The only effect it had was that I made a mental note that at my convenience, Liza, too, would have to go. Meanwhile, I wasted no time putting my plan in operation. I purchased those items necessary for my disguise. The actual creation of the good Senor Bertani was extremely simple. I had only to use my purchases skillfully. I was no longer Seymour Johnston, but Antonio Bertani.
Mr. Bertani?
Yes?
I'm your neighbor, Mrs.
What do you want?
I'm soliciting funds for our new church organ.
I don't give to any churches.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And what's more, I don't like to be bothered. You can tell that to your friends.
Well, really?
And don't let it happen again. I had no doubt as to how she would describe Senor Bertani when the police finally traced him there. I made the same impression on other neighbors during the weekends I spent in that ghastly little apartment during the summer. Then with this last purchase in Bertani's name, I was ready. The plan was complete, but for the final act, the murder of my aunt. I was full of satisfaction as I arrived on the grounds of my aunt's estate in the car I had purchased in the good Bertani's name. Or should I perhaps call him the bad Bertani? There's something very satisfying about drawing to the end of an extremely complicated and delicate operation. I hid the car in the bushes a short distance from the house, and since my plan called for it to be found there by the police, I made certain the wheels were deeply embedded in the soft earth. Then I walked the rest of the way to the house. The evening went as usual, with an endless lecture of my failings. In a way, I was glad of this, for it reaffirmed the rightness of what she was forcing me to do.
What are you looking at me like that for, Seymour?
I was just thinking how nice you looked this evening.
I see.
You sound unconvinced.
I am. As a matter of fact, everything you've done this evening has been very unconvincing. You've been more peculiar than usual.
Here, I thought I'd been particularly charming.
You have been trying to be.
Trying?
Yes?
You're the most exasperating woman I've ever known. I don't know why I put up with you.
It's the other way around, isn't it? This is my house, Seymour. I'm the one putting up with you.
Yes, it is your house. Temporarily.
Yes, temporarily. Oh, it's silly of me to play this game with you.
What game?
I know perfectly well what's wrong with you tonight.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't you think I know that it was you who sent me that silly letter?
Letter? What letter?
The letter threatening my life, unless I paid $10,000 by the first of the month to some man by the name of Antonio Bertani. No one else in the world would think of anything so childish.
My dear Aunt Muriel, if you've received a letter threatening your life, don't you think you ought to go to the police about it?
The police?
Of course. If your life is in danger, shouldn't the police know about it?
So that's what you wanted. You wanted me to take it to the police.
Well, no, I did.
Oh, Seymour, it isn't possible. Don't tell me you were planning to kill me and then have it blamed on some fictitious character that you invented.
You'll find that amusing.
Oh, it's wrong of me to laugh, I know. It's so silly and childish and typical of you.
What have you done with the letter? What have you done with it?
I put it in the waste paper basket. What else would I do with it? Now, what are you doing? Shut the desk drawer. This has gone far enough.
That's right. So it has. You're right, I did send that letter. And I did want you to turn it into the police. Because it'll be just as well if they find it in that drawer. It will serve as a motive. You don't have to worry about paying up by the first of the month. Don't worry. You won't be overdue.
Now, put that thing down, Seymour. You might hurt yourself.
Dear Aunt Muriel, always so concerned with other people's welfare. What was that noise?
I don't know, sir. That's what I came to find out. It sounded like a shot.
Well, that's impossible. It must have been a car backfiring. Perhaps we better look. Good heavens.
Oh, sir. Poor Mrs. Drummond.
How could such a thing happen? There's a man out there.
Oh.
Don't worry, I'll get him.
It all worked beautifully, just as I had planned. But then, of course, if you're intelligent to plan well, it always works out. I started the motor, even though I knew the car was deeply embedded in the soft ground. And then as I left the gun in the car, my work was done. I had nothing else to do but return to the house, call the police, and act the part of the bereaved nephew.
I'm so ashamed, Inspector. I mean, to think I had so little courage.
You mean you could have caught him?
Well, I don't know about that. I heard a sound at the gate, and well, frankly, I was frightened. You see, I remembered he had a gun. I was simply afraid.
What happened then?
Well, I waited at the gate for a while, and then I heard a car start up back in the woods. I went toward it. Not very fast, I'm afraid.
Well, did you get a look at the car as it came out?
It didn't come out.
What do you mean it didn't? It's not still there.
Well, yes, I heard someone starting the motor.
Never mind. Tell me the rest on the way. Come on.
When we returned to the house, the detective found the letter in the desk and seemed dissatisfied not only with it, but also with everything. He was that kind of person, an unnaturally suspicious, pleasureless soul who depressed me even to talk to. However, although it wasn't necessary, I decided it would be a nice touch to win him.
Didn't your aunt ever tell you she was receiving this sort of thing?
Never. I don't understand it. We were so close. She never had any secrets from me.
Well, as far as that goes, I knew your aunt pretty well myself. I would have thought she'd told me.
That's so strange.